Greetings, everybody. Well, today is the holy day of Sri Rama navami, and so, because of that, in observation of that, we shall be reading some Ram katha from Valmiki Ramayana, translated by Ralph Griffith, and from Tulsi Ramayana, translated by Reverend Atkins. And before that, I'm going to read the invocation of Krittivasa, the Bengali Ramayana, um, and give sort of an impromptu translation of it. It's just a few lines, but that was nice to set the whole thing off. So, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ramam Lakshmana Purvajam Raghuvaram Sitapati Sundaram Kakutstham Karunamayam Gunanidhim Viprapriyam Dharmikam Rajendram Satyasandham Dasarathatanayam Shamalam Shantamurti Vande Lokabhiramam Raghukula Tilakam Raghavam Ravanari Dakshine Lakshmano Dhanvi Vamato Janaki Shubha Purato Maruti Yasya Tang Namami Raghutamam Ramaya Ramachandraya Ramabhadraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. So that's that. So in the beginning of Krittivasa Ramayana, there's a very interesting episode. গোলোক বৈকুণ্ঠপুরী সবার উপর লক্ষ্মী সহ তথায় আছেন গদাধর in Goloka Vaikuntha Puri above all places sits the wielder of the mace Gadadhara along with Lakshmi তথায় অদ্ভুত বৃক্ষ দেখিতে সুচারু যাহা চাই তাহা পাই নাম কল্পতরু. And there is a most wonderful tree, beautiful to see. Whatever one desires, one gets, and it is called Kalpataru, desire tree. Dibanishi Shoda Chandra Surjero Prakasho, Tar Toli Achi Dibyo Bichitro Abasho. Day and night it glows with the luster of the sun and the moon, and at the foot of the tree is a wonderful cottage. Netopat Singhashon Uporete Tuli Birashone Boshia Achen Bonamadi. And there underneath or inside is a jeweled lion throne with cushions, and seated there in heroic posture is Vanamali, the flower garlanded one. So he's sitting under the desire tree. Mone mone prabhur hoilo abilash, eka angsho chari angshi hoite prakash. And while he was sitting under the tree, the Lord was thinking and thinking and desiring how he might make his one person into four persons. Sri Rama Bharato Ar Shatrugna Lakhan Eko Angshi Chari Angsho Hoila Narayan. And so Narayana, the one Narayana, became four parts. Sri Ram, Bharata, Shatrugna, and Lakshman. Lakshmi Murti Sita Devi বসেছেন ও বামে স্বর্ণ ছত্র ধরেছেন লক্ষণ শ্রীরামে. And Lakshmi assumed the form of Sita Devi and sat at his left-hand side, and holding a golden umbrella, Lakshman was there behind Ram. Bharato Shatrugna Tari Chamara Dulai Jor Hati Stabo Kori Bharata and Shatrugna were waving chamara whisks, and with folded palms, the son of the wind was offering prayers. That's Hanuman. এই রূপে বৈকুণ্ঠে আছেন গদাধর, হেন কালে আসছিলেন নারদ মুনিব। So in such a manner, in Vaikuntha was Godadhara, the wielder of the mace. At such a time there arrived there the best of Munis, Narada, Bina Jantro Hate Kori Hari Gunagan, Uttarilo Muni Prabhu Vidyaman. With his veena, plucking the strings on his veena, he was singing the qualities of Hari. And there he arrived and came in the presence of the Lord. Rupe deki bibhallo narda chan dire, boshono tittilotar noyonero nire. Seeing that wonderful beauty, Narada was perturbed and could not remain patient, and his garments were drenched with the tears from his eyes. Heno rupo keno dorileno narayon, iha jigashibo gia jotaponchano. In order to understand such a manifestation of Narayan, why? He went and made inquiries of the five-faced one, Panchanam, Shiva. Bhavi Bhuta Bartaman Shiv Bhalo Jani E Kotha Kohibo Gya Maheshwarasthani. He knew that Shiva knew everything, past, present, and future, and therefore he proceeded to Mahesh to tell him of these things. Etiko bhaviya jatra kore munibo uttorilo pratomiti brahmara gocha. But while he was thus proceeding on, that best of Munis decided to pause and see Brahma first. Bidhata ki loye jan কৈলাসু শিখরে শিবকে বন্দিয়া পরে বন্দিল দুর্গারে. And with him they both proceeded to the peak of Kailasha, and there made their salutation at the feet of Shiva and Durga. Nirokia দুইজনে তুষ্ট মহেশ্বর, জিজ্ঞাসা করেন তবে তাদের গোচর. Seeing them both arrived there, Maheshwara was greatly pleased and inquired of them the cause of their arrival. Koho Brahma, koho hi Narada Tapodhan, dohe anandita aji dekhi ki karon. Speak, Brahma, O Narada, whose wealth is tapasya, speak. I can see that today you are both overwhelmed with extraordinary joy. Birinchi bolen, Shuno Deva Bolanath, Dekilam Goloke, Apurva Jagannath. Birinchi, which is Brahma, said, listen, O God Bolanath, a wonderful sight has been seen in Goloka, the most astonishing Jagannath. Dekitam Purveti Kebol Narayan, Chariyangshi Dekilam Kishira Karam. There was seen Narayana divided in 4 parts. Tell us the reason. Brahmavakko Shunya Kohen Krittivasa সেই রূপ ইহকারী হইবে প্রকাশ. Hearing the speech of Brahma, Krittivasa, which is another name of Shiva, then began to manifest, explain how in this form he would be manifest. যে রূপে আছেন হরি গোলক ভিতর, জন্মলটি আছে 60,000 বৎসর. That form that was seen in Goloka will be born on earth in 60,000 years. Ravan Rakosh Hobe Prithivi Mandali, Tahari Bodhiti Janmo Lobino Bhutali. The Rakshasa Ravana will then be tormenting the earth. And he, Tahari Bodhiti Janmo Lobino Bhutali, and he shall be born there for his destruction. Dasharatha Ghare Janmibek Charijam Sri Ram Bharat ar Shatrugna Lakham. In the house of Dasaratha he will take his birth in 4 parts, Sri Rama, Bharata, and Shatrugna and Lakshman. Eko Angshi Narayan Chari Angsha Hoye Teen God Pigeon Milpen Shubhakonopeye. That one Narayana dividing into 4 parts will take his birth in from the wombs of his mothers on a good auspicious day. Janaki Sohito Ram Loya Lokha, and Janaki with Rama going along with Lakshman. Pitri Satya Palonartha Jaiben born. In order to keep the honor and truthful word of his father, will go to banishment in the forest. Sita Udhari Ram Maria Ravan Lob Kush Name Hobe Sita Nanda. In order to rescue Sita, Rama will kill Ravana. Then they will have sons by Sita called Lava Kush. Manusya Go Hatya Adi Joto Papa Kori Ekbar Ram Name Sarva Papi Tori. Even a murderer, a killer of cows, and such sinners are delivered from all sins by one utterance of Rama's name. So there, I'll pause it there. So what happens after that? They say, how's that? And so the example is then presented of Ratnakara, who was a dacoit and had committed many sins, and they gave him Ram Nam. It's the whole story. I won't go into it now. But now, if somebody else would like to begin properly with the Ramayana of Valmiki, I'll be most delighted to yield at this point and come in a bit later.
I don't mind, but you have
Please
to,
do.
yeah. So which canto do I start from?
Start from the very beginning, invocation, and then
Oh,
canto 1.
all right, and I'll have to let you stop me. Or,
All right. Okay.
no, so, oh, okay, invocation. Here we go. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Praise to Valmiki, bird of charming song, who mounts on poesy's sublimest spray, and sweetly sings with accent clear and strong, Rama, I Rama, in his deathless lay. Where breathes the man can listen to the strain that flows in music from Valmiki's tongue, nor feel his feet the path of bliss attain when Rama's glory by the saint is sung. The stream Ramayan leaves its sacred fount, the whole wide world from sin and stain to free. The prince of hermits is the parent mount, the lordly Rama is the darling sea. Glory to him whose fame is ever bright, glory to him, Pracheta's holy son, whose pure lips quaff with every new delight the nectar sea of deeds by Rama done. Hail, arch-aesthetic, pious, good, and kind. Hail, Saint Valmiki, Lord of every law. Hail, holy hermit, calm and pure of mind. Hail, first of bards, Valmiki, hail once more. Book And that's the end of the invocation. Well, I've gone to next canto. Okay, there was a blank page. All right, here we go. Canto 1, Narad. Om. To sainted Narad, prince of those whose lore in words of wisdom flows, whose constant care and chief delight were scripture and aesthetic right. The good Valmiki, first and best of hermit saints, these words addressed. In all this world I pray thee, who is virtuous, heroic, true, firm in his vows, of grateful mind, to every creature good and kind, bounteous and holy, just and wise, alone most fair to all men's eyes, devoid of envy, firm and sage, whose tranquil soul ne'er yields to rage, whom, when his warrior wrath is high, do gods embattled fear and fly, whose noble might and gentle skill the triple world can guard from ill. Who is the best of princes? He who loves his people's good to see, the store of bliss, the living mine where brightest joys and virtues shine. Queen Fortune's best and dearest friend, whose steps her choicest gifts attend, who may with sun and moon compare, with Indra, Vishnu, fire and air. Grant, Saint divine, the boon I ask, for thee, I ween, an easy task, to whom the power is given to know if such a man breathe here below. Then Narad, clear before whose eye the present, past, and future lie, made ready answer. Hermit, where are graces found so high and rare? Yet listen, and my tongue shall tell in whom alone these virtues dwell. From old Ikshvaku's line he came, known to the world by Rama's name. With soul subdued, a chief of might, in scripture versed, in glory bright. His steps in virtue's paths are bent, obedient, pure, and eloquent. In each emprise he wins success, and dying foes his power confess. Tall and broad-shouldered, strong of limb, Fortune has set her mark on him. Graced with a conch shell's triple line, his threat displays the auspicious sign. High destiny is clear
Throat.
impressed. Yes?
Throat.
What did I say? Threat.
Yeah,
Well, it reads threat here, actually.
but it's throat.
All right, cool. His throat displays the auspicious sign. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course. And fortune set her mark on him. Is that while we're talking? What does that mean? Does that mean something?
Fortune set her mark on him. He's marked with all the good lucky signs.
Yeah. All right. High destiny is clear impressed on massive jaw and ample chest. His mighty shafts he truly aims, and foemen in the battle tames. Deep in the muscle, scarcely shown, embedded lies his collarbone. His lordly steps are firm and free, his strong arms reach below his knee. All fairest graces join to deck his head, his brow, his stately neck, and limbs in fair proportion set, the manliest form e'er fashioned yet. Graced with each high imperial mark, his skin is soft and lustrous dark. Large are his eyes, that sweetly shine with majesty almost divine. His plighted word he ne'er forgets, on erring sense a watch he sets. By nature wise, his teacher's skill has trained him to subdue his will. Good, resolute, and pure, and strong, he guards mankind from scathe and wrong, and lends his aid, and ne'er in vain, the cause of justice to maintain. Well has he studied o'er and o'er the Vedas and their kindred lore. Well skilled is he the bow to draw, well trained in arts and versed in lore, high-souled and meet for happy fate, most tender and compassionate. The noblest of all lordly givers, whom good men follow, as the rivers follow the king of floods, the sea, so liberal, so just is he. The joy of Queen Kaushalya's heart, in every virtue he has part. Firm in Himalaya's snowy steep, unfathomed like the mighty deep, the peer of Vishnu's power and might, and lovely as the lord of night, patient as earth, but roused to ire, fierce as the world-destroying fire, in bounty like the lord of gold, and justice self in human mould. With him, his best and eldest son, by all his princely virtues won, King Dasarath willed to share his kingdom as the regent heir. But when Kaikeyi, youngest queen, with eyes of envious hate, had seen the solemn pomp and regal state, prepared the prince to consecrate, she bade the hapless king bestow 2 gifts he promised long ago, that Ram to the woods should flee, and that her child the heir should be. By chains of duty firmly tied, the wretched king perforce complied. Rama, to please Kaikeyi, went, obedient forth to banishment. Then Lakshman's truth was nobly shown, then were his love and courage known, when for his brother's sake he dared all perils and his exile shared. And Sita, Rama's darling wife, loved even as he loved his life, whom happy marks combined to bless a miracle of loveliness. Of Janak's royal lineage sprung, most excellent of women, clung to her dear lord, like Rohini, rejoicing with the moon to be. The king and people, sad of mood, the hero's car a while pursued. But when Prince Rama lighted down at Sri Govera's pleasant town, where Ganga's holy waters flow, he bade his driver turn and go. Guha, Nishada's king, he met, and on the farther bank was set. Then on from wood to wood they strayed, o'er many a stream, through constant shade, as Bharadvaja bade them, till they came to Chitrakota's hill. And Rama there, with Lakshman's aid, a pleasant little cottage made, and spent his days with Sita, dressed in coat of bark and deerskin vest. And Chitrakuta grew to be as bright with those illustrious 3, and Meru's sacred peaks that shine with glory when the gods recline beneath them, Shiva's self between, the Lord of gold and beauty's queen. The aged king for Rama pined, and for the skies the earth resigned. Bharat, his son, refused to reign, though urged by all the twice-born train. Forth to the woods he fared to meet his brother, fell before his feet, and cried, "Thy claim all men allow, O come, our lord, and king be thou." But Rama nobly chose to be observant of his sire's decree, he placed his sandals in his hand, a pledge that he would rule the land, and bade his brother turn again. Then Bharat, finding prayer was vain, the sandals took and went away, nor in Ayodhya would he stay, but turned to Nandigram, where he ruled the realm with watchful care, still longing eagerly to learn tidings of Rama's safe return. Then, lest the people should repeat their visit to his calm retreat, away from Chitrakota's hill fared Rama ever onward till beneath the shady trees he stood of Dandaka's primeval wood. Virata, giant fiend, he slew, and then Agastya's friendship knew. Counselled by him, he gained the sword and the bow of Indra, the heavenly lord. A pair of quivers, too, that bore of arrows an exhaustless store. While there he dwelt in greenwood shade, the trembling hermits sought his aid, and bade him with his sword and bow destroy the fiends who worked them woe, to come like Indra strong and brave, a guardian god to help and save. And Rama's falchion left its trace deep cut on Surpanaka's face, a hideous giantess who came burning for him with lawless flame. Their sisters' cries the giants heard, and vengeance in each bosom stirred. The monster of the triple head, and Dushyant the contest sped. But they, and myriad fiends beside, beneath the might of Rama died. When Ravana, dreaded warrior, knew the slaughter of his giant crew, Ravan, the king whose name of fear, earth, hell, and heaven all shook to hear, he bade the fiend Maricha aid the vengeful plot his fury laid. In vain the wise Maricha tried to turn him from his course aside. Not Ravan's self, he said, might hope with Rama and his strength to cope. Impelled by fate and blind with rage, he came to Rama's hermitage. There, by Maricha's magic art, he wiled the princely youths apart. The vulture slew and bore away the wife of Rama as his prey. The son of Raghu came and found Jatayu slain upon the ground. He rushed within his leafy cot, he sought his wife, but found her not. Then the hero's senses failed, in mad despair he wept and wailed. Upon the pile that bird he laid, and still in quest of Sita strayed. A hideous giant then he saw, Kabanta named, a shape of awe. The monstrous fiend he smote and slew, and in the flame the body threw. When straight from out the funeral flame, in lovely form Kabandha came, and bade him seek in his distress a wise and holy hermitess. By counsel of this dainty dame, to Pampa's pleasant flood he came, and there the steadfast friendship won of Hanuman, the wind god's son. Counselled by him, he told his grief to great Sugriva, Vanar chief, who, knowing all the tale, before the sacred flame alliance swore. Sugriva to his new-found friend told his own story to the end, his hate of Bali for the wrong and insult he had borne so long. And Rama lent a willing ear. I'll go on until 10 to, okay, and I have to have a break. Of Bali, here we are. His hate of Bali for the wrong and insult he had borne so long, and Rama lent a willing ear, and promised to allay his fear. Sugriva warned him of the might of Bali, matchless in the fight, and, credence for his tale to gain, showed the huge fiend by Bali slain. The prostrate corpse of mountain size seemed nothing in the hero's eyes. He lightly kicked it as it lay, and cast it 20 leagues away. To prove his might his arrows through 7 palms in line uninjured flew. He cleft a mighty hill apart, and down to hell he hurled his dart. Then high Sugriva's spirit rose, assured of conquest o'er his foes. With his new champion by his side, to vast Kishkinta's cave he hied. Then, summoned by his awful shout, King Bali came in fury out. First comforted his trembling wife, then sought Sugriva in the strife. One shaft from Rama's deadly bow, the monarch in the dust laid low. Then Rama bade Sugriva reign in place of royal Bali slain. Then speedy envoys hurried forth, eastward and westward, south and north, commanded by the grateful king, tidings of Rama's spouse to bring. Then by Sampati's counsel led, brave Hanuman, who mocked at dread, sprang at one wild tremendous leap, 200 leagues across the deep. To Lanka's town he urged his way, where Ravan held his royal sway. There, pensive, 'neath Ashoka boughs, he found poor Sita, Rama's spouse. He gave the hapless girl a ring, a token from her lord and king. A pledge from her fair hand he bore, then battered down the garden door. 5 captains of the host he slew, 7 sons of counsellors o'erthrew, crushed youthful Aksha on the field, then to his captors chose to yield. Soon from their bonds his limbs were free, but honouring the high decree which Brahma had pronounced of yore, he calmly all their insults bore. The town he burnt with hostile flame, and spoke again with Rama's dame. Then swiftly back to Rama flew, with tidings of the interview. Okay, I'd like to stop now. Thank you.
Finish it.
How far, I can't tell how far it goes. That's why I just don't know.
Not very far. Not very far.
Really? Okay.
No.
I need to grab my water.
It's not
Okay,
that far. Then
I will
it's a
finish it.
chapter.
Yeah. No. So, then, with Sugriva for his guide, came Rama to the ocean side. He smote the sea with shafts as bright as sunbeams in their summer height. And quick appeared the river's king, obedient to the summoning. A bridge was thrown by Nala o'er the narrow sea from shore to shore. They crossed to Lanka's golden town, where Rama's hand smote Ravan down. Vibhishan there was left to reign over his brother's wide domain. To meet her husband Sita came, but Rama, stung with ire and shame, with bitter words his wife addressed before the crowd that round her pressed. But Sita, touched with noble ire, gave her fair body to the fire. Then straight the god of wind appeared, and words from heaven her honour cleared. And Rama clasped his wife again, uninjured, pure from spot and stain, obedient to the Lord of fire, and the high mandate of his sire. Led by the Lord who rules the sky, the gods and heavenly saints drew nigh, and honoured him with worthy meed, rejoicing in each glorious deed. His task achieved, his foe removed, he triumphed by the gods approved. By grace of heaven he raised to life the chieftains slain in mortal strife. Then in the magic chariot through the clouds of Nandigrama flew. Met by his faithful brothers there, he loosed his votive coil of hair. Thence fair Ayodhya's town he gained, and o'er his father's kingdom reigned. Disease or famine never oppressed his happy people, richly blessed with all the joys of ample wealth, of sweet content and perfect health. No widow mourned her well-loved mate, no sire his son's untimely fate. They feared not storm or robber's hand, no fire or flood laid waste the land. The golden age had come again to bless the days of Rama's reign. From him, the great and glorious king, shall many a princely scion spring, and he shall rule, beloved by men, 10,000 years and hundreds 10. And when his life on earth is past, to Brahma's world shall go at last. Whoe'er this noble poem reads that tells the tale of Rama's deeds, good as the scriptures he shall be, from every sin and blemish free. Whoever reads the saving strain, with all his kin the heavens shall gain. Brahmanas who read shall gather hence the highest praise for eloquence. The warrior o'er the Lord shall reign, the merchant luck in trade obtain, and Sudras listening ne'er shall fail to reap advantage from the tale.
That's it.
That's the end of that Canto 1.
Yeah. So who wants to read the next
Right.
one? I was thinking what we'll do, we'll read these 3 chapters. The next one is Brahma's visit. And then again, after that, there's another argument, which gives you another summary, but touching on the things that were missed out there. So who wants to read that?
That was lovely. Well done. Thanks. That's brilliant.
Thank you, Ivan.
Did you like that, Matul?
Yeah, all of it's fabulous. And yeah.
So, well, there's Dina or Guna, if they want to read the next one, Brahma's visit.
I don't mind reading the next one. I'd like to go after Gunnar. I've just done my saver, had my evening saver.
Okay. Okay.
If Gunnar's ready.
You ready, Gunnar? Read 2 chapters. Read, because that one Khan I read was a long one. So read Canto 2 and Canto 3.
Canto 2
and Canto 3.
Visit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Valmiki graceful speaker heard, to highest admiration stirred. To him whose fame the tale rehearsed, he paid his mental worship first. Then with his pupil humbly bent, before the saint most eloquent, thus honoured and dismissed the seer, departed to his heavenly sphere. Then from his cot Valmiki hied to Tamasha's sequestered side. Not far remote from Ganga's tide, he stood and saw the ripples roll, pellucid o'er a pebbly shoal. To Bharadwaj by his side, he turned in ecstasy and cried, "See, pupil dear, this lovely sight, the smooth floored shallow, pure and bright, with not a speck or shade to mar, and clear as good men's bosoms are. Here on the brink thy pitcher lay, and bring my zone of bark, I pray. Here will I bathe, the rill has not to lave the limbs a fairer spot. Do quickly as I bid, nor waste the precious time away, and haste." Obedient to his master's best, quick from the cot he brought the vest. The hermit took it from his hand, and tightened round his waist the band, then duly dipped and bathed him there, and muttered low his secret prayer. To spirits and to gods he made libation of the stream, and strayed, viewing the forest deep and wide, that spread its shade on every side. Close by the bank he saw a pair of curlews sporting fearless there. But suddenly with evil mind, an outcast fowler stole behind, and with an aim too sure and true, the male bird near the hermit slew. The wretched hen in wild despair, with fluttering pinions beat the air, and shrieked a long and bitter cry, when low on earth she saw him lie, her loved companion quivering, dead, his dear wings with his lifeblood red, and for her golden-crested mate she mourned and was disconsolate. The hermit saw the slaughtered bird, and all his heart with ruth was stirred. The fowler's impious deed distressed his gentle, sympathetic breast, and while the curlew's sad cries rang, within his ears the hermit sang. No fame be thine for endless time, because, base outcast of thy crime, whose cruel hand was fain to slay one of this gentle pair at play. And as he spoke, his bosom wrought and laboured with the wondering thought. What was the speech his ready tongue had uttered when his heart was wrung? He pondered long upon the speech, recalled the words, and measured each, and thus exclaimed the saintly guide to Bharadraj by his side, with equal lines of even feet, with rhythm and time and tone complete, the measured form of words I spoke, in shock of grief be termed a shlok. And Bharadraj, nothing slow, his faithful love and zeal to show, answered those words of wisdom, be the name, my lord, as pleases thee. As rules prescribed, the hermit took some lustral water from the brook, but still on this his constant thought kept brooding as his home he sought, while Bharadraj paced behind, a pupil sage of lowly mind, and in his hand a pitcher bore, with pure fresh water brimming o'er. Soon as they reached their calm retreat, the holy hermit took his seat, his mind from worldly cares recalled, and mused in deepest thought enthralled. Then glorious Brahma, Lord Most High, creator of the earth and sky, the four-faced God, to meet the sage, came to Valmiki's hermitage. Soon as the mighty God he saw, up sprang the saint in wondering awe. Mute, with clasped hands, his head he bent, and stood before him reverent. His honoured guest he greeted well, who bade him of his welfare tell, gave water for his blessed feet, brought offerings and prepared a seat. In honoured place the God Most High sat down and bade the saint sit nigh. There sate before Valmiki's eyes the Father of the earth and skies. But still the hermit's thoughts were bent on one thing only, all intent, on that poor curlew's mournful fate, lamenting for her slaughtered mate. And still his lips, in absent mood, the verse that told his grief renewed. Woe to the fowler's impious hand, that did the deed that folly planned, that could to needless death devote the curlew of the tuneful throat. The heavenly Father smiled in glee, and said, O best of hermits, see, a verse unconscious thou hast made, no longer be the task delayed. Seek not to trace with labour vain the unpremeditated strain, the tuneful lines thy lips rehearsed, spontaneous from thy bosom burst. Then come, O best of seers, relate the life of Rama good and great, the tale that saintly Narad told, in all its glorious length unfold, of all the deeds his arm has done upon this earth, omit not one, and thus the noble life record of that wise, brave, and virtuous Lord. His every act today displayed, his secret life to none betrayed. How Lakshman, how the giants fought, with high emprise and hidden thought, and all that Janak's child befell, where all could see, where none could tell. The whole of this shall truly be made known, O best of saints, to thee. In all thy poem, through my grace, no word of falsehood shall have place. Begin the story and rehearse the tale divine in charming verse. As long as in this firm set land the streams shall flow, the mountains stand, so long throughout the world be sure the great Ramayana shall endure. While the Ramayan's ancient strain shall glorious in the earth remain, to higher spheres shalt thou arise, and dwell with me above the skies. He spoke, and vanished into air, and left Valmiki wondering there. The pupils of the holy man, moved by their love of him, began to chant that verse, and evermore they marvelled as they sang it o'er. Behold the four-lined balanced rhyme, repeated over many a time, in words that from the hermit broke, in shock of grief became a shlok. This measure now Valmiki chose, wherein his story to compose, in hundreds of such verses sweet, with equal lines and even feet. The saintly poet, lofty souled, the glorious deeds of Rama told. Canto 3. The Argument. The hermit, thus with watchful heed, received the poem's pregnant seed, and looked with eager thought around, if fuller knowledge might be found. His lips with water first bedewed, he sate in reverent attitude, on holy grass, the points all bent together towards the Orient, and thus in meditation he entered the path of poesy. Then clearly, through his virtue's might, all lay discovered to his sight. Whate'er befell through all their life, Rama, his brother, and his wife, and Dasarat, and each queen, at every time, in every scene, his people too, of every sort, the nobles of his princely court. Whate'er was said, whate'er decreed, each time they sate each plan and deed, for holy thought and fervent right had so refined his keener sight, that by his sanctity his view the present, past, and future knew, and he with mental eye could grasp, like fruit within his fingers clasp, the life of Rama, great and good, roaming with Sita in the wood. He told with secret piercing eyes the tale of Rama's high emprise, each listening ear that shall entice a sea of pearls of highest price. Thus good Valmiki, sage divine, rehearsed the tale of Raghu's line, as Narad, heavenly saint before, had traced the story's outline o'er. He sang of Rama's princely birth, his kindness and heroic worth, his love for all, his patient youth, his gentleness and constant truth, and many a tale and legend old, by holy Vishvamitra told, how Janak's child he wooed and won, and broke the bow that bent to none, how he, with every virtue fraught, his namesake Rama met and fought, the choice of Rama for the throne, the malice by Kauseyi shown, whose evil counsel marred the plan, and drove him forth a banished man, how the king grieved and groaned and cried, and swooned away, and pining died. The subject's woe when thus bereft, and how the following crowds he left, with Guha talked, and firmly stern, ordered his driver to return. How Ganga's farther shore he gained, by Bharadraj entertained, by whose advice be journeyed still, and came to Chitrakota's hill. How there he dwelt and built a cot, how Bharat journeyed to the spot, his earnest supplication made, drink offerings to their father paid, the sandals given by Rama's hand as emblems of his right to stand. How from his presence Bharat went, and years in Nandigram spent. How Rama entered Dandak wood, and in Sutikna's presence stood. The favour Anasuya showed, the wondrous balsam she bestowed. How Sarabanga's dwelling place they sought, saw Indra face to face. The meeting with Agastya gained, the heavenly bow from him obtained. How Rama with Virada met, their home in Panchavata set. How Suparnika underwent the mockery and disfigurement of Trigira's and Kara's fall, of Ravan roused at vengeance call. Maricha doomed without escape, the fair Vidyahan lady's rape. How Rama wept and raved in vain, and how the vulture king was slain. How Rama's fierce Kabanda slew, then to the side of Pampa drew, met Hanuman, and her whose vows were kept beneath the greenwood boughs. How Raghu's son, the lofty-souled, on Pampa's bank wept uncontrolled, then journeyed Rishyamuk to reach, and of Sugriva then had speech. The friendship made, which both had sought, how Bali and Sugriva fought, how Bali in the strife was slain, and how Sugriva came to reign. The treaty, Tara's wild lament, the rainy nights in watching spent, the wrath of Raghu's lion son, the gathering of the hosts in one, the sending of the spies about, and all the regions pointed out, the ring by Rama's hand bestowed, the cave wherein the bear abode, the fast proposed, their lives to end, Sampati gained to be their friend. The scaling of the hill, the leap of Hanuman across the deep, ocean's command that bade them seek, Mainaka of the lofty peak, the death of Sinhika, the sight of Lanka with her palace bright. How Hanuman stole in at eve, his plan the giants to deceive. How through the square he made his way to chambers where the women lay. Within the Ashoka garden came, and there found Rama's captive dame. His colloquy with her he sought, and giving of the ring he brought. How Sita gave a gem o'erjoyed, how Hanuman the grove destroyed. How giantesses trembling fled, and servant fiends were smitten dead. How Hanuman was seized, their ire, when Lanka blazed with hostile fire. His leap across the sea once more, the eating of the honey store. How Rama he consoled, and how he showed the gem from Sita's brow. With ocean, Rama's interview, the bridge that Nala o'er it threw, the crossing and the sitting down at night round Lanka's royal town, the treaty with Vibhishan made, the plan for Ravan's slaughter laid. how Kumbhakarna in his pride and Meghanada fought and died, how Ravan in the fight was slain and captive Sita brought again. Vibhishan set upon the throne, the flying chariot Pushpak shown. How Brahma and the gods appeared, and Sita's doubted honour cleared. How in the flying car they rode, to Bharadraja's cabin abode. The wind god's son sent on afar, how Bharat met the flying car. How Rama then was king ordained, the legions their discharge obtained. How Rama cast his queen away, how grew the people's love each day. Thus did the saint Valmiki tell whate'er in Rama's life befell, and in the closing verse all that yet to come will once befall.
Fantastic. Dina, you ready?
I'll
Dina.
just take us to the next page. How wonderful.
So start off with the next one, Canto 4, the Rhapsodists, and then when you've read that chapter, I'll tell you where to skip ahead to read a bit more. Is that
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Jolly good.
See Ramachandra there. Didn't quite come in. Maybe that way. Better.
Yeah, that's great. Excellent.
Jai Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. So, Canto 4, the Rhapsodists. When to the end of the tale was brought, rose in the sage's mind the thought, now who throughout this earth will go, and tell it forth that all may know? As doth he muse with anxious breast, behold, in hermit's raiment dressed, Kusha and Lava came to greet their master and embrace his feet. The twins he saw, that princely pair, sweet-voiced, who dwelt beside him there. None for the task could be more fit, for skilled they were in holy writ, and so the great Ramayana fraught with law divine to them he taught. The lay whose verses sweet and clear take with delight the listening ear, that tell of Sita's noble life and Ravan's fall in battle strife. Great joy to all who hear they bring, sweet to recite and sweet to sing. For music's sevenfold notes are there, in triple measure, wrought with care, with melody and tone and time, and flavours that enhance the rhyme. Heroic might has ample place, and loathing of the false and base, with anger, mirth, and terror blent, with tenderness, surprise, content. When half the hermit's grace to gain, and half because they loved the strain, the youth within their hearts had stored the poem that the lips outpoured. Valmiki kissed them on the head, as at his feet they bowed and said, recite ye this heroic song, in tranquil shades where sages throng. Recite it where the good resort, in lowly home and royal court. The hermit ceased, the tuneful pair, like heavenly minstrels, sweet and fair, music's art divinely skilled, their saintly master's word fulfilled. Like Ram's self, from whom they came, they shared their size in face and frame, as though from some fair sculptured stone two self-same images had grown. Sometimes the pair rose up to sing, surrounded by a holy ring, where seated on the grass, bad met. Full many amusing anchoret. Then tears bedimmed those gentle eyes, as transport took them and surprise. And as they listened, everyone cried in delight, "Well done, well done!" Those sages, versed in holy lore, praised the sweet minstrels more and more, and wondered at the singer's skill, and the bard's verses sweeter still, which laid so clear before the eye glorious deeds of days gone by. Thus by the virtuous hermit's praise, inspirited their voice they raised. Pleased with the song, this holy man would give the youths a water can. One gave a fair aesthetic dress, or sweet fruit from the wilderness. One saint a black deer's hide would bring, and one a sacrificial string. One a clay picture from his hoard, and one a twisted munger cord. One in his joy an axe would find, one braid their plaited locks to bind. One gave a sacrificial cup, one rope to tie their faggots up, while fuel at their feet was laid, or hermit's stool of fig tree made. All gave, or if they gave not, none, forgot at least a benison. Some saints, delighted with their lays, would promise health and length of days. Others with surest words would add some boon to make their spirit glad. In such degree of honour then, that song was held by holy men, that living song which life can give, by which shall many a minstrel live. In seat of kings, in crowded hall, they sang the poem, praised of all, and Ram chanced to hear their lay, while he the votive steed would slay, and sent fit messengers to bring the minstrel pair before the king. They came and found the monarch high, enthroned in gold, his brothers nigh, while many a minister below, and noble, state in lengthened row. The youthful pair a while he viewed, graceful in modest attitude, and then in words like these addressed his brother Lakshman and the rest. Come, listen to the wondrous strain recited by these godlike twain, sweet singers of a story fraught with melody and lofty thought. The pair, with voices sweet and strong, rolled the full tide of noble song, with tone and accent deftly blent, to suit the changing argument. Mid that assembly loud and clear rang forth that lay so sweet to hear, that universal rapture stole through each man's frame and heart and soul. These minstrels, blessed with every sign that marks a high and princely line, in holy shades who dwell, enshrined in Saint Valmiki's lay, a monument to live for aye. My deeds in song shall tell. Thus Ram spoke, their breaths were fired, and the great tale as if inspired. The youths began to sing, while every heart with transport swelled, and mute and rapt attention held the concourse and the king.
Can you
What do you?
skip ahead now?
Yeah.
See if you can skip to Canto 19, XIX.
Let me go to the index. XIX.
The Birth of the Princes.
Yes. Okay. The seasons, 6 in rapid flight, had circled since that glorious rite, 11 months had passed away. 'Twas Chaitra's 9th returning day. The moon within the mansion shone, which Aditi looks kindly on. Raised to their apex in the sky, 5 brilliant planets beamed on high, shone with the moon in Cancer's sign. Brihaspati with light divine. Kaushalya bore an infant blessed, with heavenly marks of grace impressed. Ram, the universe's lord, a prince by all the worlds adored. New glory Queen Kaushalya won, reflected from her splendid son. So Aditi shone more and more, the mother of the gods when she, the king of immortals, bore, the thunder-wielding deity. The lotus-eyed, the beauteous boy, he came fierce Ravan to destroy. From half of Vishnu's vigour born, he came to help the world's forlorn, and Queen Kaikeyi bore a child of truest valour, Bharat styled. With every princely virtue blessed, 1/4 of Vishnu manifest. Sumitra too, a noble pair, called Lakshman and Shatrughna bear, of high emprise, devoted, true, sharers in Vishnu's essence too. Neath Pushya's mansion, Mina's sign, was Bharat born, of soul benign. The sun had reached the crab at morn, when Queen Sumitra's babes were born. What time the moon had gone to make his nightly dwelling with the snake. The high-souled monarch's consorts bore at different times those glorious 4, like to himself and virtuous bright as Prashtapada's 4-fold light. Then danced the nymphs' celestial throng, the minstrels raised their strain, the drums of heaven pealed loud and long, and dowers came down in rain. With Ayodhya, blithe and gay, all kept the joyous holiday. The spacious square, the ample road, with mimes and dancers overflowed, and with the voice of music rang, where minstrels played and singers sang. And shone a wonder to behold, with dazzling shows of gems and gold. Nor did the king his largesse spare, for minstrel, driver, bard to share. Much wealth the Brahmins bore away, and many thousand dined that day. Soon as each babe was 12 days old, 'twas time the naming rite to hold, when Saint Vashishta, rapt with joy, assigned a name to every boy. Ram, to him, the high-souled heir. Bharat, to him, Kaikeyi bare. Of Queen Sumitra, one fair son, was Lakshman, and Shatrughna one. Ram, his sire's supreme delight, like some proud banner cheered his sight, and to all creatures seemed to be the self-existent deity. All heroes, versed in holy lore, to all mankind great love they bore. Fair stores of wisdom all possessed, with princely graces all were blessed. But mid those youths of high descent, with lordly light preeminent, like the full moon, unclouded shone, Ram, the world's dear paragon. He best the elephant could guide, urged the fleet car, the charger ride. A master he of bowman's skill, joying to do his father's will. The world's delight and darling he, loved Lakshman best from infancy. And Lakshman, lord of lofty fate, upon his elder joyed to wait. Striving his second self to please, with friendship's sweet observances, his limbs the hero near would rest, unless the couch his brother pressed. Except the beloved Ram shared, he could not taste the meal prepared. When Ram, pride of Raghu's race, sprang on his steed to urge the chase, behind him, Lakshman, loved to go and guard him with his trusty bow. As Ram was to Lakshman dear, more than his life and ever near, so fond Satrugna prized above his very life, is Bharat's love. Illustrious heroes, nobly kind, in mutual love they all combined, and gave their royal sire delight with modest grace, warrior might. Supported by the glorious four, shone Dasarata more and more. As though with every guardian, God who keeps the land and skies, the father of all creatures trod the earth before men's eyes. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Ho.
Jai Sri Ram. So now, from that majestic strain, I thought it would be nice to go into a more homely strain of Tulsi Das,
Oh,
just for the birth pastime. So I got the bit here when the gods, Bhumi in the form of a cow, has gone to Brahma with her complaints. So this is from Balakanda, or it's not Balakanda, but it's the first part of Tulsi's Ram Charita Manasa. So I'll read this chanda. There's a chanda here. Suramuni Gandarva Milikari Sarva Ge Viranchike Loka Sanga Gotanudhari Bhumi Vichari Param Vikala Bhaya Shoka Brahma Sabajana Mana Anumana Mora Katsuna Bashai Jakarite Dasi So Abhinashi Hamare Tor Sahai. Then gods, nymphs, and saints with one mind their complaints to the Lord, the Creator, presented. Mother Earth, urgent now, in her form of a cow, also told of the wrongs she resented. Brahma said, I know well all the evils you tell, but in this there's no help I can render. He whose service you own, everlasting his throne, only he is our help and defender. Then a Sorata. Be patient, O earth, and take courage. With heart and mind set the Lord's feet, said Brahma. He knows all the things that discourage his people, and his own time will dispel them. Chopai. The gods sat in thought, and their needs they discussed. The Lord, where to find him, for find him we must. To paradise we must all go, was one notion. Another, he dwells by the wide milky ocean. The truth is, the Lord to each one is revealed, whose heart with true love and devotion is sealed. Said Shiva, I, Uma, was present and shared the discussion, and to them my mind thus declared. The Lord pervades all things below and above, omnipresent, he's seen and revealed by true love. Pray tell me the country, direction, time, place, where he's found not, where he leaves not a trace. Though separate from all, always present he's been to love. In the wood fire by rubbing is seen. By all those who heard them, my words were approved. 'Tis true, said Lord Brahma, himself deeply moved. With gladness of heart, body thrilling, and eyes filled with tears, the Lord Brahma creator, hands joined mid-control, mind controlled, sang the praises of Vishnu, the great singing praise of the greater. Jaya Jaya Suranayaka, Jana Sukadayaka, Pranatapala Bhagavanta, Godvija Hitakari, Jaya Surari, Sindhu Suta Priyakanta. Hail again and again, him who blesses all men, Lord of lords, aid of all heavy laden, help of cows and of Brahmins, destroyer of demons, the Lord of fair Lakshmi, sea maiden. Earth and heaven he feeds, Of his marvelous deeds none can fathom the secret or end. By nature he's kind to the humble in mind. May he aid us who on him depend. Hail, thou deathless one, hail, who in all forms doth dwell, all pervading, in all bliss supreme, without limit or bond, unillusioned, Mukund, wholly pure, beyond all sense or dream. All the pure saintly host in thy name make their boast, free from error, self's cravings foregoing. They by night and by day sing thy praises and pray. We too hail thee, all good and all knowing. By thee all things had birth in hell, heaven and earth. None to help thee, none since, none before thee. Pour in worship and piety, Lord, our anxiety. Lift from our hearts, we implore thee. Hope and joy of the sages, the fears of all ages and troubles by thee are dispersed. In thee refuge we find, sought with heart, soul, and mind, though in utterance uncouth and unversed. Though the goddess of knowledge, philosophers' college, the Veda divine and Purana, with naught can compare thee, as one they declare thee, the merciful Lord Bhagavana. Mandara mount in the ocean of this world's commotion, all beauty, all virtue and blessing. We bow at thy feet and thy succor entreat in our troubles and fears so distressing. Doha, the fears of the gods, Mother Earth and the saints, reached his heart, and a heavenly voice to their love gave assurance in answer and bade them to lift up their hearts and rejoice. Away with your fears, sages, saints, and immortals, for you I will pass once again through birth's portals. With all of my powers, I tell you in honesty, man I'll become in the noble Sun dynasty. Kashyap and Aditi much have endured, and from me the boon that they sought have secured. As Dasaratha and Kausalya now they appear, whom Kausala's people as rulers revere. 4 brothers, all noble, to them shall be born, and the glory of Raghu's line royal adore. With Lakshmi, my energy, man's form I'll take, and thus Narad's curse, true but harmless, will make. I'll conquer earth's troubles, be no longer fearful, ye gods, but take courage in hopes bright and cheerful. As this divine voice reached the ears of the gods, they went their way, ready to face any odds. Then Brahma gave earth his last comforting word, which scattered her fears and her courage restored. Doha. Before he returned to his realm, Brahma urged that the gods in these great doings share. Go you to earth also as monkeys, he said. Serve our Lord and his cause of love there. The gods every one to his own home returned, earth too all at rest by the things she had heard. The counsel of Brahma they gladly obeyed, and eager to do it in nothing delayed. On earth, as he said, they assumed monkey form, and with vigor began mighty deeds to perform. Their weapons were claws, trees, and hills. None could rival their power as they waited Lord Vishnu's arrival. All over the mountains and forests they swarmed. Their well-trained and orderly armies they formed. I've told of great people and things they were doing. Now hear things that elsewhere were meanwhile ensuing. In Awadh, King Dasarat of Raghu's line royal ruled well as a student of scripture and loyal. A virtuous king, wise and truly religious, whose love for the bow-bearing Lord was prodigious. His queens were Kausalya and 2 other wives, all loving and loved and obedient, examples of faithfulness, modesty, virtue, with love for the Lord they were radiant. At one time the king was despondent and worried. No son had he through whom his line would be carried. He went and appealed to his priest and preceptor with reverence, though king and though wielding the scepter. He told of his joys and his hopes and his grief. Vashishta gave an answer that brought him relief. Be patient, O king, he said. 4 sons you'll have, world known, who the faithful from trouble will save. The holy saint Sringi was called by the priest, who performed then the sun-bearing sacrifice feast. The saint the oblation devotedly offered. The fire god appeared and a portion he proffered. The purpose, he said, that Vashishta had in mind has succeeded. In good time its fruit you will find. This portion I therefore to you am committing. Divide it, O king, as to you seems most fitting. Doha. The god of fire vanished from sight with these words, and what they must do having told. The joy and the comfort this gave to King Dasrath was more than his heart could well hold. His queens he called, as he loved one, he loved all. Kaushalya brought both sister queens at his call. He broke in 2 pieces the portion provided, gave one to Kaushalya, the other divided. Of these to Kaikeyi, again he gave one, the other divided again, and this one, these 2 queens assenting by touching one part, he gave both to Sumitra, rejoicing her heart. Each queen ate her portion and thus became pregnant, rejoicing, and hope in each bosom was regnant. At once, when as Rama, the Lord, was conceived, the whole world knew wealth, hope, and comfort received. As one in their palace, the 3 consorts reigned, their radiance, virtue, and beauty maintained. The days and the months were all happily past. Came the time of the Lord's revelation at last. When the stars, constellations, the time and the season, the day and the hour were auspicious, Lord Rama was born, joy of lifeless and living, to all things supremely propitious. Naumi titi madhumasa punita sakalupucha abhijita hariprita madhya divasa atisita nagama pavana kala loka vishrama. On the 9th day of Chait, month of spring, near full moon, 'neath the clear signs of conquest and love, a rare boon. Nor too hot nor too cold, but a day in fair season. The whole world was calm and at ease for this reason. From heaven refreshing cool breezes were wafted. The gods all rejoiced, saintly minds were uplifted. The woods bloomed with flowers, mountains glistened with gems. The rivers were all filled with life-giving streams. This Lord Brahma judged the right time and occasion. The gods in their chariots set forth in procession. The clear sky was filled with the heavenly arrays, and angel bands sang as they went heavenly lays. They rained down on earth fragrant bunches of flowers, while sounds of glad music accompanied these showers. Gods, serpents, and saints joyous praise to him rendered, sincere homage as he thought fitting each tendered. They brought into earth, then the gods their prayers offering, returned each again to his place, while he in whom all the earth dwells and finds refuge, in love among men showed his face. And this is the song. De prakata kripala paramadayala kausalya hitakari haresita mahatari muni manahari adabhuta rupa vichari Lochana abhirama tanu gana shama nija ayudha bujasari Bhushana banamala nayana visala shobha sindhu karari Kahadui karajori astuti tori kehi vidhi karo ananta Maya guna jnana tika amana Veda purana bhananta Karura sukha sagar sab guna agar Jehi gavahi sruti santa Soma mahita lagi jana anuragi bhayo prakata srikanta Brahmandanikaya nirmitamaya Roma Roma pratibeda kahi Mama uraso vasi jaha upahashi Sunata dhira mati dhira न रहे उपजा जब ज्ञाना प्रभु मुसुकाना चरित बहुत बिति कीन्ह चहे कही कथा सुहाई मातु बुझाई जेहि प्रकार सुत प्रेम लहे माता पुनि बोली सोमति डोली तजहु तात यह रूपा कीजे शिशु लीला अति प्रियशीला जेह सुख परम अनुपा सुनि बचन सुजाना रोदन थाना होई बालक सुर भूपा यह चरित जिगावही हरि पद पावही तेन परहि भवकूपा भय प्रकट कृपाला दीन दयाला कौसल्या हितकारी The all-loving and kind to a world lost and blind was revealed and Kausalya was raptured. His mother with joy saw the form of her boy, which the hearts of the saintly hath captured. His glance brightly glowed, body dark as a cloud. In his 4 hands 4 weapons he held. Flowers hung to adorn, as a big-eyed babe born, Rama, glory's one fount, she beheld. One may have endless days, but can ne'er sing thy praise to the full, she said, hands humbly clasped. Whom the scriptures proclaim perfect ever the same, free from passion by no mind e'er grasped. Whom the saint and the sage laud in every age, as the sea of bliss, goodness, and grace. Though thou, heaven's great King, art revealed joy to bring to my heart and for love of our race. Sacred books all declare in thine every hair, by illusion all worlds may be found. That thou, Lord, shouldst come to the world by my womb, such a jest would the surest confound. To her thought keen and grave, smiling answer he gave, as he planned lots of things to be done. Many stories he told of his deeds new and old, that her love he might hold as her son. When her mind was thus swayed by this wonder, she said, my darling, give up this your guise. Play the baby again. Thus let love be made plain. No greater joy can you devise. When he heard this request, as he lay at her breast, as a baby the Lord of all cried, who his praises repeat as they bow at his feet, shall o'er life's deepest depths safely ride. Vipradenu sura santahita linha manuja avatar nija ichha nirmita tanu maya guna gopar. For the sake of cows, Brahmins, immortals, and saints, human body Lord Rama has taken, though beyond all illusion, all limit, all sense, of his own will that life is forsaken. On hearing the sound of a wee baby crying, to see him the other queens quickly came flying. Their maidens ran here and there wildly excited. The whole of the city was greatly delighted. When King Dasarath heard that a son had been given To him he rejoiced as a joy as of heaven, love filling his mind and his body all thrilled. 'Twas not easy to rise till his mind he had stilled. The one by whose name, he said, bliss is obtained, that great one to come to my dwelling has deigned. While thus the king's heart with his thankful joy bounded, he caused joyful music and songs to be sounded. For Vashishta, his preceptor, he eagerly sent, and for others to share in the happy event. His gaze from the babe he could scarcely withdraw, whose beauty and promise showed never a flaw. The Nandi Mukh ancestor rite was gone through, and all other birthrights performed. By giving the Brahmins gold, cows, clothes, and jewels, the generous king their hearts warmed. The city was bright with flags, arches, and banners of all kinds and set up in various manners. Flowers rained down from heaven, defying all sadness, and all hearts were filled with a heavenly gladness. The women rose up and forth eagerly fared in bands, themselves first having fitly prepared, with bright omened gifts in gold salver and chalice, and singing gay songs, each group came to the palace. They offered their gifts as they circled around him, and humbly they fell at his feet where they found him. Bards, minstrels, and players, in choir and in drama, all sang the high praises and virtues of Rama. With generous heart each one gifts would heap, with generous heart none the present would keep. They sprinkled musk, saffron, and sandalwood scent, and made the streets muddy wherever they went. His welcome was sung in each home with sweet music. The treasury of bliss has appeared. Among armies of women and men everywhere, happy sounds of rejoicing were heard. Kaikeyi and Sumitra also gave birth to sons of unusual beauty and worth. The people, the times, and their joys were the finest, ere known, hard to tell, e'en by powers divinest. In Avad, it seemed, with such lavish provision, as though night had come in the hope of a vision of Rama, but seeing the sun, she had veiled her beauty, and so it seemed evening prevailed. Around were dark clouds of thick incense and smoke, but from the streaks of red powder it seemed dawn had broke. Like bright stars and planets, the palace gems shone. Through clouds gleamed its pinnacles like the full moon. Within was the singing of scripture's sweet words at morn, noon, and eve, like the singing of birds. The sun, these things watching his duties for God, unwitting he stayed a whole month in one spot. The day was month-long, but nobody noted a marvel in mood so exalted. The night could not come when throughout all that time both the sun and his chariot were halted. None noticed the marvel, it caused no regret. Lord Rama's praise chanting, the sun at last set. The gods, saints, and serpents, their happiness voicing, at sharing the festival, went back rejoicing. Said Shiva, I know, Uma, your faithful soul. I'll tell how a place in these doings I stole. At the time I was there with Bashunbi the crow. We both took man's sword so that no one might know. Our minds filled with rapturous joy and affection, we went through the city in every direction. He only such fortunate ways can embrace, on whom rests in fullness our Lord Rama's grace. The king at that season most generous gifts gave to all those who came, to each what he would have. Equipages, elephants, horses, and cattle, fine jewels and clothing, and much precious metal. He pacified all men, and they in return prayed that each of his princes might prayed that each of the princes might pass his days full of blessing, that each might live long those deeds, the Lord, those divine lords of poor Tulsi Das. So then, there's a little bit from Adhyatma Ramayana, which I'll just, if you'll indulge me, because it's very good. So I'll just read the English. Dasaratha, at the time of taking food, would call Rama with great affection and joy several times to eat with him. Being absorbed in play, he would refuse to respond. So the king, with a smile on his face, would ask Kausalya to fetch him. But even after much chasing, she could never get hold of him, who could be grasped only by the mind of a yogi. Afterwards, with a smile on his lips, Rama would go to the father of his own accord, and receiving in his mud-smeared hand a ball of rice, run away to play once again. Every month, his mother Kausalya would observe vows and offer worship for counteracting all evil influences on the child, whom she would decorate well. She would also make elaborate preparations of various sweets and other dainties as offerings. On account of the prankish movements of Rama, she would often be required to abandon her household duties. One day, the boy went to his mother's side and said, "Oh, mother, I am very hungry. Give me something to eat." But being absorbed in her work, she did not hear it. Extremely angry at this, Rama took a stick and with that broke all the vessels. He broke the vessels in which milk and butter were hung in slings and distributed their contents between Lakshman and Bharat. Afterwards, he gave that curd and milk to Satrughna also. When the cook reported this to the mother, she came running and laughing to catch hold of Rama. Seeing her approaching, all the brothers ran away, with Kausalya pursuing them in spite of her feet stumbling against obstructions. She at last caught hold of Rama, the lord of the Raghus, and holding him in her hand, that noble lady could only keep on looking at his face without showing anything like anger or annoyance. But lo, Rama, in his childish mood, began to weep. Embraced by the mother, all of them were fondled intensely by her. Thus did Rama, the embodiment of bliss and the source of joy for all the worlds, entertain Dasaratha and Kausalya with that assumed form of his as a child. In this way, they passed from the stage of childhood to that of boyhood. Now they were invested with the sacred thread by the family preceptor Vashishta, and were instructed and made proficient in arts and sciences, especially in archery and bowmanship. They were thus made competent in the knowledge of all the Shastras. Though lords of the world, they, having assumed human forms in a sportive manner, had to undergo all the above training. Of the four brothers, Lakshmana was always in the habit of reverently following Rama. In the attitude of a servant towards his master, Satrughna always followed Bharata. Daily, Rama, equipped with bow and arrows, would go to the forest on horseback, along with Lakshman, to hunt wild animals, and he would bring all the game and present them before his father. Getting up early in the morning and finishing his ablutions and daily rites, he would salute his father and mother in all humility, and then attend to all the affairs of state. Every day he would take his food along with his kith and kin. Then he would engage himself in hearing expositions of scriptural and administrative texts by learned men and offer his own explanations. In this way, incarnate in human form, the Supreme Being, who is immutable and free from all transformations, did everything following the habits and customs of men. But when the truth of him is investigated, it would be seen that he is always unaffected by change. That is Iti Srimad Adhyatma Ramayani Uma Maheshwara Samvadi Balakandi Tritiyo Saragaha Om Tat Sat. So unless anyone else wants to add something, we've run out of time. I thought it would be good to concentrate on the Janma Leela and the first 3 chapters that were read there by Karnai and Guna and Dina give the outline, the origin of the Ramayana. So it's very good if anyone has an inclination to continue. They've now got a way in to the text. So, Matura, are you still awake or have you passed out due to ecstasy? I think it may be even so. Matura!
Yeah, I passed out. I'm here. I passed out.
You can stop the
Where?
recording, I think, now. It's
Okay.
9 o'clock. Was that fun? Did everybody enjoy themselves?
Mm-hmm. Some I fell asleep, I have to admit.
Well, it's very late there, isn't it? When you stop the recording, then